Um, I'm Tom H. I am an alcoholic. My sobriety date is April 4th of 2023. I have a sponsor. I sponsor men in the program. My home group is Last Call Spiritual Solutions. It's at the Uptown House in St. Paul, Thursday nights at 9:15 p.m. It's a late meeting, but if you're in town, it's a good one. Yeah, so let's see. My first drink was when I was 17. I got all my friends were drinking, and I was one of the holdouts. I was in SAD, Students Against Drunk Driving. So I was like, I can't be in SAD and drinking. But the girl I had a crush on, whatever, she talked me into it, and so yeah, I ended up having my first drink was a shot of Bacardi Grand Melon, and it was gross, but it instantly made me feel like I don't know. I was like, this is exactly who I want to be. I felt my anxiety diminish. I just felt a lot more comfortable in my own skin. Um, yeah, and then ever from that first drink, it was I was just looking forward to the weekend to just to party. I'd never had drank like responsibly. It was binge drinking from the get-go. I just wanted to be, I saw too many Animal House, Van Wilder, all those Project X movies, and that's how I wanted my life to be. I thought that's so like when I got accepted into a college and I didn't college wasn't about going to class for me. It was about the weekends, it was about partying. So I ended up like I never my first semester I got like a C average, and then I never had I've been to college I think 4 times since then and could never get like a passing GPA. Because of drinking. And yeah, and so I went from a college partier to a bar fly pretty quick once I turned 21. um and that's like every day after work, happy hours, and was still very social. Like wasn't I didn't think I had a drinking problem then. I just thought I was like a heavy drinker and was a partier, and I knew that. But what I didn't see was that like how stagnant my life had become. And I didn't like see how everybody else around me was maturing, and I was staying at the same like emotional and financial and just like level in life. And then it's my first DWI was when I was 26, and that wasn't eye-opening. That was just like not my fault. Um, I had I had a girlfriend at the time. She jumped out of the car, knocked herself unconscious. I had to call the cops on myself to get her in an ambulance, and I was like, I wouldn't have even been caught if she wasn't crazy. So it was like her fault. And then wasn't I did the classes, whatever. Didn't think I had a drinking problem. Um, Still thought life was manageable, and um, then my second DWI came in 2018. I was at a bar for a Notre Dame football game. Asked a friend if I could stay at his house in town, and he said yes. So then I went. As soon as I was like, "Oh, sweet, I don't have to drive. I can have some hearts. I can do some shots." I remember doing a couple shots of Fireball, and then I was blacked out, and I woke up in my car with a cop knocking on my window, and I don't know what happened in between me deciding to stay at a friend's house and then me getting behind the wheel and driving. But I was to, I stayed in jail for 3 nights. Had my parents pick me up. I told them I was done drinking, never drinking again. Had a breathalyzer, a portable breathalyzer, so I could be released on bail. And I blew I made it a couple weeks before I was invited on a party bus, and I was like, there's no way I can do this party bus sober. So I ended up blowing dirty into that thing, and then like having to pay bail and return that. And so I just so I could like continue drinking. And I still was like, no, I'm just, I was crying to my parents on the ride home from jail saying I'm never drinking again. And then it went, less than a month later, I'm just drinking the same amount and back at it. And COVID, so then 2018, I moved home and was living with my parents, just drinking pretty heavily. But then COVID hit, and I turned into that's when the drinking really started to be uh, every day and isolated. It was a cycle of drinking on so like if the my week I guess started on Wednesday because that was my Monday when I'd get into work, Wednesday or Tuesday. And then I'd drink all week, go extra hard on Friday, Saturday. Sunday, I'd be like, oh, I have to go into work on Monday. I shouldn't drink today. And I was, at the liquor store by noon. And then Monday, I was calling into work because I couldn't get out of bed. And so I wouldn't normally drink on a Monday. Tuesday, if I made it into work, it was like I was feeling really bad. But then, by the end of the day, on Tuesday, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock rolls around, I'm like, I'm feeling pretty good. And I'd end up back at the liquor store. And I was in that cycle for like a year before um, I finally like admitted to my parents, like, I need some extra help. I went to treatment, my first treatment, and I was in there for 45 days. I drank on the second day after I got out. Drank heavily for like another 4 months, went back to treatment. And this time I said I was going to follow through with all the recommendations. And I was drinking. I did 5 days in the sober house, but the sober house wasn't comfortable enough for me. So I ended up back at home, and I don't remember exactly how long I made it, but it was like 2 weeks. Then was drinking again, and then November of 2022, I was in detox to go to my third treatment, and I went to my first like AA meeting in detox, and the guy in the AA meeting said I do a 90-90, then I might not need treatment. So I was like, anything to get me out of going to inpatient. So I started a 90-90. I made it 60 in between 60 and 70 days before there was a wedding in Florida where I relapsed. Um, and then it was off to the races again. Wasn't working the steps. I was just showing up, going to meetings. So then, but I knew AA. I saw what people had in AA, and I saw like I had some inspiration there. So I went to my third treatment. I went to it was like it's a place up in Minnesota here called the Retreat. It's like AA boot camp. I did 30 days in there. It was like 4 meetings a day, um and then I signed up for sober living right away. And I've been so that was yeah, April 4th, 2023, I checked in. And then I've been in the retreat sober house ever since. Um, and yeah, that's where I actually learned the steps, learned what AA really is. St. Paul, I switched my like meetings to where I was only going to one club for all my meetings. Now I go to a bunch of different meetings. And yeah, it's been awesome. But specifically with HACYPAA, the house I moved into, has my house manager is super involved with YPAA. He's hosted before. He's gone to a billion. And then two guys that I lived with that lived here when I first moved in, they were serving on Mini Paw's Mini Paw 10 host committee. So my house manager was chairing Mini Paw 10. Uh, One guy in the house was co-chair and the other guy was events or no programs. So I kind of got thrown right into it right away. They asked if I was interested, and I was like, yeah, 100% sounds. I was saying yes to everything. And I didn't join the committee, but I did go to the conference. But my first conference was HACYPAA. I heard that there was like a whitewater rafting camping trip. I didn't know what YPAA was, but I was like, I want to go whitewater rafting. And I showed up, and it was like summer camp, I guess, for adults that are, young people in AA, and there was a lot of chanting, and but I just saw like a lot of people doing exactly what I used to do, which is like partying and having fun, but like doing it without alcohol. And that it was like this. I found my crowd. It was super duper fun. And from then, like right then, I was like, okay. As soon as I realized what AA was in St. Paul, I dove headfirst into it, and that's the same with YPAA. As soon as I like figured out, found out what YPAA is, I jumped right in. And since then, I've been to, I think I'm on 12 now. I joined Mini Paw 11 as treasurer. I thought I'm terrible with money. That will help me become better at like if I have to make a budget for a YPAW, that'll help me make my own budget. It didn't. I'm still not that great with money, but I'm good with other people's money. I kept good track of the ledger, and like I learned a lot of responsibility for and accountability for like a group that's not, and I didn't get any financial, it wasn't like my job. I didn't get anything out of it except for like to be involved. Um, and I gotta like, I don't know, I gotta travel a whole, like, I went to a bunch of YPAWs to outreach, met a lot of people, really got like thrown into the community. And then like being on the steering committee of the host committee, this like I became like a resource for people that to help them with their positions, and like I was able to teach like a little bit of like what I know, which is wasn't like a whole lot, but I was able to help. um and it definitely like gave me a purpose to stay sober for that first year. um and then like we threw the conference and it went off. It was great, super fun. And then we won the HACYPAA bid, and I got nominated to chair, and so I accepted that. And that's just like some more accountability for me. I was told that I wouldn't, because of all the people on the committee, I wasn't going to have to do a whole lot of work because I got a lot of heavy hitters on the committee. But it turns out the chair still does have to do a lot of work besides just run the meeting. But that's yeah, it's been fun. With I've like the purpose statements of all the YPAWs, like it's super true. It showed me like how much fun that there is, and like in sobriety, and that like I I mean I still think about drinking, but I don't think about it like as like nearly as much as I used to. And just I don't know, it threw me in the like I I got a cousin right now that he's kind of stuck in Indiana. And he's wants to really dive into AA, and I'm just like trying to beg him to come up to Minnesota because just to show him like what YPAA has done for me, to get him on the host committee for HACYPAA, just because I know like no, it's not like a promise, a guaranteed to help fix, but it's like people. I feel like it's anything that you can do to help your recovery, say yes to, and it would definitely, it's like not gonna hurt, and I don't, it's been just a great experience. Yeah, let's see.